Chapter 1. 147, 7th year, night and day. Friday, April 28th, 1978.
Remus, fuck's sake, wake up.
Piss off, Remus grumbled, shaken awake. It's the middle of the night.
You're grinding your teeth again.
Sirius complained. I can't help it. Go to sleep.
Between your gnashing and Prong's snoring and Wormtail getting up every 5 minutes, how can I?
Oi!
A voice came from across the room.
I have a nervous bladder.
You shouldn't drink so much before bed.
Sirius hissed back.
Sorry, Mother.
Peter retorted grumpily.
I didn't realize you were monitoring my biology.
You trip over your dirty laundry every time you get up.
Actually, it was Mooney's books.
Not mine. Remus called, for the prank.
All of you, shut up!
James yelled. They were quiet for a minute.
Bloody Wormtail.
Sirius muttered into his pillow, rolling over. Great. Now I need the loo. Remus grumbled, getting out of bed, his bare feet hitting the cold floorboards. He didn't turn the light on in the bathroom in an attempt to stay semi-asleep, but it was no good by the time he'd got up, crossed the room, peed and washed his hands. Remus was fully awake, and his jaw hurt, so Sirius must have been right about the grinding. It was for the same reason Peter had been up and down all night, and probably the same reason Sirius couldn't sleep NEWT started next week. As he exited the little bathroom, Peter rushed forward to go in again, reaching for the panel of light switches on the wall as he did, and hitting the wrong one. Remus winced, feeling as if his retinas had blown out as startling artificial brightness filled the room.
Wormtail, you prick!
Sirius growled from the bed. Remus had left the curtains partway open, and the light struck across his face like a laser beam.
Sorry.
Peter said, hopping from foot to foot as he fumbled with the switches on the wall.
I didn't mean to get that one.
I can't wait until I don't have to share a room with you anymore, you little rodent.
Sirius spat, sitting up.
Don't you ever think about anyone else?
Shut up, dickhead.
Peter replied, sounding sleepy and upset.
Think I like sharing with you and Mooney?
What about me and Mooney?
Sirius sat up sharply. Just go to the loo, Peter. Remus sighed, flicking on the bathroom light and then flicking off the big overhead bedroom light so that they were cast into darkness once more. Peter slammed the door and locked it.
Silly little sod.
Sirius grumbled to himself. Sirius. Remus snapped, in that authoritative voice that always worked. Stop whining. Sirius pressed his lips together, falling instantly quiet, eyes trained on Remus. Good boy. Remus smirked. He rubbed the back of his head, glancing at the clock on Peter's bedside table, 3:30. I'm going downstairs. I won't be able to sleep now, he said. And you can have some peace. They'd been sharing Remus's bed for the past few nights now, and though it was large, it wasn't really meant for two fully grown boys. Unfortunately, they no longer had a choice, since Sirius's own bed had disappeared earlier that week. They'd been practicing for the prank, and hit a bit of a snag with the main incantation. Sirius remained cheerfully optimistic that it would show up again eventually, but Remus was less sure. He went quietly down the stairs, book under his arm. Remus loved the common room when it was empty. It was filled with some of his very happiest memories of Hogwarts. He went over and opened the big bay window. He was always too warm and forever getting yelled at for opening windows to let cold air in, but no one was around to complain. Remus inhaled the scent of the forest and the castle, the night sky and the snow from the mountains, the velvety smooth water of the lake and every blade of grass on the Quidditch pitch. Hogwarts. He wondered if he would ever feel so at home anywhere ever again. Remus shook his head, realizing how silly and sentimental he was being. He left the windows wide and turned back into the room, settling down on the big velvet couch and opening his book. He flicked his wand at the kettle hanging over the fire, and it began to heat up. He flicked through his book at his tea brewed, trying to find his place. Where would he get his books, after Hogwarts? It was easy enough to join a Muggle library, but did wizards have them too? Another question for Sirius, or maybe Chris, when Remus saw him next. Christopher had been very elusive since they'd bumped into each other in Hogsmeade. Just as the kettle boiled, Remus's ears pricked at the sound of familiar footsteps descending the dormitory staircase. He smiled a secret smile to himself, and without turning around, simply summoned a second teacup from the cabinet, getting ready to pour. Thought you wanted to sleep, he said mildly, as Sirius padded across the carpet wrapped in his bed blanket and sat in the warm spot Remus had left on the couch.
Prong's snoring still.
Sirius yawned, pulling the blanket tighter as Remus brought over the tea.
Bloody hell, it's freezing down here.
I'll shut the window.
No, it's okay. I'll warm up.
Remus sat down with his tea, muttering, Levio liber, at his book so that he could read it with his tea in one hand and an arm around Sirius, who leaned sleepily against his shoulder. Will it be like this, Remus wondered, after Hogwarts? Nights on the couch with no one bothering us.
What you reading?
Sirius asked, watching the heavy book levitating just above Remus's lap. Oh, something I found on legilimency.
Eh?
Sirius raised his head, a small frown forming.
Why?
Just interested. Remus replied. Wanted to read something outside of my NEWT core texts, and I thought, mind reading, cool, who wouldn't want to?
I think it ought to be illegal.
Sirius said, suddenly prickly, though Remus didn't know why.
It's an invasion of privacy, practically a dark art.
Well, I'm only reading about it, Remus said carefully.
I didn't mean you would.
Sirius sighed, settling back down. Seeing it had upset Sirius, Remus allowed the book to set itself down and stroked his hair, gently, because he always liked it, even if he pretended he didn't. He felt Sirius relax against him again before saying in an odd voice,
Sorry, I didn't mean to snap. It's just that my mother can do it. She's a legilimens.
Oh.
So she could find out what we were up to, where our loyalties lay.
I'm sorry, Padfoot. Remus squeezed his arm. That protective feeling came back, cold and sweet like adrenaline.
Don't be. I'm well shot of her, mad old bat. And I'd sort of learnt to deflect it by the end. Made her so angry.
He let out a hollow chuckle. You learnt occlumency? Remus raised his eyebrows. That's incredible.
Not exactly.
Sirius frowned again, but this time Remus knew it was because he was thinking very hard. He sat up, pulling away from Remus, and leaned over to set his tea down on the coffee table.
It's more like you just learn not to think the things she wants you to think. It got worse when we were teenagers, you know. She was worried about impure thoughts. Toujours peur. So I'd just distract her by thinking something else.
So she wouldn't find out about Mary? Remus asked. Or the other Muggle-born girls? Sirius fidgeted with his hands, looking away.
Yeah, that. And, well, whatever. Anything I didn't want her to know. Trouble is, you end up confusing yourself. It's like tying your own thoughts up in knots. Hard to unpick. Afraid you used to get the raw end of that a bit.
He met Remus's eyes then, and he looked so ashamed and sorry that Remus realized exactly what he meant. Was that why it had all been so difficult in the beginning? Why Sirius had been so insistent on pretending nothing was going on between them? Remus put down his own tea and hugged Sirius tightly. He hated her. He hated the war, and he hated himself for not being able to say the right words. This was one of those times it might have really mattered too. Sirius, he said, heart pounding as they released each other finally. I'm so...
It's fine, Mooney. It's over now.
Sirius smiled at him bravely. I know, but I want you to know. I want to tell you. I really...
I know.
Sirius kissed him gently, wrapping his arms around him once more and squeezing him back.
Me too.
Friday, May 5th, 1978.
I failed.
Marlene whispered as they left the exam hall, wringing her hands together.
You did not.
Mary slung her arm around her friend's shoulder.
At least it's over.
Marlene sighed.
Don't. You're making me all emotional.
Mary laughed.
How about you, Lupin?
She reached out to link her arm with his as the three of them walked down the corridor towards the grounds. Am I emotional? He asked, raising an eyebrow.
How do you think you did?
Mary clarified.
I know you're stoic.
Okay, I think. The question on basilisks threw me a bit, but I think I managed.
Stoic and modest, my dream man.
Mary sighed.
I have to go.
Marlene said as they turned a corner.
Sorry, I said I'd meet...
Yasmin.
Mary finished for her, a bit cattily. She let Marlene out from under her arm.
Off you pop, then.
Moody cow!
Marlene poked her tongue out.
You know I love you forever.
Back at you.
Mary scrunched up her nose.
See you at dinner.
Bye, Marlene.
Remus said politely. They were friends again, but it still felt weird.
See you.
Mary kept her grip on Remus's arm and looked up at him.
You're not about to abandon me for a raven-haired Quidditch player too, are you?
She asked.
Honestly, it's like a club you're all in.
Oh, shut up.
He laughed.
And no, he's got his Muggle Studies exam.
So you're mine.
All yours.
He nodded. She grinned and kissed his cheek. They kept walking, heading for the sunshine.
I think I mucked up the bit on cockatrices.
Mary mused.
I couldn't ever take them seriously enough to study. I mean, for God's sake, half dragon, half chicken. Fucking nonsense. Still, I reckon I passed okay.
I'm sure you did.
Remus said.
You worked hard. We all did.
Worked harder when Ferox was teaching.
Mary grinned.
God, me too.
Remus replied casually, causing Mary to burst into giggles. He liked shocking her. It was hard to do most of the time. Mind you, she took everything in her stride. No sooner had they turned the last corner than she stopped in her tracks, a look of distaste crossing her face.
Ugh, it's Rotherhide.
Remus followed her line of vision. They were just at the final archway which led out into the grounds. It was a sunny day, if a little bit cool, and after a rainy start to the year, every student not in lessons or exams was out enjoying the weather. Roman Rotherhide, the 7th-year Ravenclaw heartthrob, was loitering with a few of his friends just ahead. He and Mary had been on and off for years, and judging by the look on her face, they were most definitely off now.
What's he done?
Remus asked.
Nothing. He just annoys me.
She said.
Some days all of them do.
Boys?
Wizards.
Fair enough. Come on, let's just keep walking.
Snog me.
Mary turned to him.
Go on, it'll drive him mad. Quick, he's looking.
Mary.
Remus laughed, veering away from her.
No.
Please.
No.
Ugh, some friend you are.
She grumbled.
Come on then.
You're mental.
Remus shook his head, following her. He sighed and slipped his hand in hers.
There. Will that do?
My hero.
She grinned up at him, squeezing his hand back, swinging it back and forth so that Roman was sure to notice. They settled underneath a large beech tree near the lake. Remus lay on his back with his arms behind his head, watching the boughs creak slowly above, while Mary began to file and paint her fingernails. Sirius had made Remus promise not to start revising for anything else once his Care of Magical Creatures exam was finished, and for once Remus didn't argue. He was right in the sweet spot between full moons where he felt the most healthy and human, plus lessons were finished forever, which meant he had no homework and everyone was in a good mood lately. Why lock himself away in the library?
God, I can't wait for it all to be over.
Mary said.
I'll miss all of you, obviously, but I'm done with school.
Do you know what you're doing after?
Remus asked, closing his eyes and staring at the bright red veins of his eyelids.
Mum wants me to do a typing course, get a proper job.
You could if you wanted.
Remus mused.
You could charm a typewriter, easy.
Ha, I ought to. That'd show Mum. Anyway, I'll probably get myself up the duff and have to get married by the time I'm 19, like she did. Then it's cooking, laundry and church for the rest of my life.
What a cheerful thought.
Remus snorted.
Lily said you lot were going to help Dumbledore.
Mary said suddenly. Remus opened his eyes and turned his head, squinting up at her. She was wearing a pair of white-framed cat-eye sunglasses, so he couldn't see her eyes, but her mouth was serious, no longer chirpy.
That's right,
he said.
So, what? You're all going to finish school and go and save the world?
Well,
Remus said steadily.
We'll start by winning the war anyway.
Remus, please don't.
He sat up, then, annoyed.
Why are you bringing this up?
Because Lily's lost all sense of reason since she's been with Potter. Potter and Black think they're untouchable anyway, and Peter can't think for himself. You're the sensible one.
No, I'm not.
I think about the attacks at Christmas, Marlene's brother, the way people are looking at each other these days. I'm frightened. It's going to get worse.
Yes, it is,
he said, his voice hard.
Unless someone stops it.
But why does it have to be you? Any of you? Let Dumbledore fight, if he's so powerful as everyone says. Why does he need kids to help him?
We're not kids. Mary, this isn't about Dumbledore or even Voldemort. It's about the whole wizarding world, the community, making it a place where we can all...
Remus, you're never going to be one of them.
Excuse me?
Look, do you know why my family ended up in the UK? My granddad fought in the war. He got medals and all that crap, the gratitude of the Empire. They said they couldn't have beat Hitler without the soldiers of the Commonwealth. You want to know what happened to that gratitude when the war was over? When he moved here for a better life? Do you know what they called him?
She shook her head angrily.
Things don't change because of stupid heroics. People don't change. Even if we win the war, even if that creepy Dark Lord bloke is imprisoned or defeated or whatever, Potter and Black might get the victory parades, but no one's going to... You're going to be an outsider forever. Look at the way Danny's been treated.
Mary,
Remus said, his tone very cold now. How had they even got into this? They never fought.
I'm not going to discuss this any further.
Don't be angry with me,
She said,
I'm only trying to...
I know, but I'm not interested.
Remus,
Why don't we practice some charms? Exams in 2 days.
He stood up, pulling out his wand. Mary remained seated on the grass. She looked up at him, lowering her sunglasses, her brown eyes reproachful. She pursed her lips, then gave a little shrug.
Okay, just let me finish my nails.